at that point, you're not there to play it safe. Like if you're not taking risks, you're not competing.
It's empowering. I mean, anybody who's done a CrossFit workout, you finish your CrossFit workout and you're like, I'm on top of the world.
Yeah.
Like a hunger for competition and like that super intense structure, routine. I still had that desire.
Listen to the way people feel and the motivations for doing the things that they did. It was like they were describing me to a T.
I'm not trying to solve everything for you, but I know that sometimes you just need somebody to listen.
Learned the most is how to fill my cup by filling others.
Welcome to the Hungry Dog Barbell Podcast. Join me as I talk with passionate people about their life's failures and successes, and most importantly, what keeps them hungry for more.
What up, dogs? We're back with Jeff Paul. We're in the middle of the Open. We are 2 hours out from 22.2 being announced. We now know what it is. Burpee pull-ups and shuttle runs back and forth with the max thruster. What was your first thoughts when you heard it, Jeff?
To be honest, I like it because I'm a bigger guy. Burpees are a pain in the ass. So anything that you can add in there to tempo burpees helps.
Yeah, and that's what's going to be out there when I'm just trying a couple.
Yeah.
How many attempts do you think on the thruster in that 5 minutes?
Three. I'd say three. Yeah.
Do you have any idea what you're going to open up yet?
Probably 205 or 225 depending, and then we'll see where it goes from there.
Yeah, I was thinking 185, so that sounds about right too. Probably depending on how the workout feels, I would say like maybe put 215 on there, so you can go right to 225 if you want to make that choice.
That's true. Because we did 10 rep max thruster a while back, and I hit 205 for that. So.
Oh yeah, you gotta go way over that. It's just the 1 rep max thruster. You're gonna be so affected after that workout.
Yeah.
It's gonna be awful. Imagine if it had been last week after all the hinging. Oh my god, that would have been terrible. So what were your thoughts on workout 1? I
liked it.
You like that?
I liked it a lot.
You said you did it back in 2014 before?
Did it back in 2014.
How much better were you this time?
Count real quick. 15.
You got a bunch of muscle ups this time.
23 reps. Sorry, Matt. Yeah, 23 reps. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but I think we said the other day, maybe I told somebody else that. So I was 8 short of finishing the cleans in 2014.
Right.
I was only a couple months into CrossFit. So 14 minutes to get, 22 cleans? I finished the cleans at 9:58 this year. So
that's 4 minutes, right? 14-minute workout, was it? Yeah, 14 minutes. They put 15 minutes at the bottom. Oh my god, CrossFit.
But 14-minute workout, so 4-minute PR there, and then 15 additional reps of muscle ups, which I thought would go better, but they just there's always just a kick in the teeth somewhere with the Open.
Oh, that workout was just hard. I was just telling people they were like.
I was really looking forward to finishing it, but almost.
So how many muscles did you get?
15.
15. Oh, that's real close. So we were talking about it before. No, actually, before I go to wodapolozza, dude, did you sign up for the 2014 Open? Was that your first one?
I did, yeah.
Oh my god.
I think it was my first one. I'll have to check.
Do you ever think they'll do a year of all repeats?
That would be interesting.
I know, it'd be crazy.
That'd be really interesting.
If they did that, I think they have to go back to 5 weeks for that. 3 weeks isn't enough.
Yeah, you would. You definitely would.
To really test all the different things.
Because it's funny because I consider myself kind of more of a CrossFit OG, but some of our other athletes here are on the younger side and only been doing it for a few years, and they struggled with this workout, and they're like, I didn't like it, it doesn't really feel like a CrossFit workout, and I had to remind them, like, that's old school CrossFit.
That is like
that is
most
the
CrossFit.
Definition of CrossFit right there.
Well, I saw that, I was like, Dad, we're doing CrossFit this year, huh?
Yeah, so, you have that, and then this week's, funky one with the shuttle runs being new.
Yeah.
And burpee pull-ups, they keep saying that it's an old CrossFit movement,
I guess.
Because it's in 1 or 2, I think, benchmark hero workouts or whatever it is.
Yeah.
G.I. Jane.
It sucks. That's all I know. It's a great workout, and they said this is Boz's first one that he programmed himself. So I guess it makes sense that he fucking went ahead. So that the last one must have been it was a repeat. So it was a CrossFit Castro workout from before. But dude, so we're on here to talk a lot about Wodapolozza. What was like your biggest takeaway from Wodapolozza this year?
Biggest takeaway from this year? Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah. We'll circle back to that too, because it's like the training's paying off, right?
Yeah, training's paying off, and I joke with Amy all the time that we're playing the long game. You know? We're not looking to get to the games this year or next year, but 10 years from now, when I'm 50 and she's getting in the upper 55 area.
She's what, a 44 right now? Yeah. So wait, no, is she? I think her sporting age, just like weightlifting, puts her in the next category. So she
might be up one.
She'll probably be 45. Yeah. Sorry, we're airing out your age there, but deal with it. It's all over the place. So we get down to Wodapolozza. You had some drama at the very beginning with the what was it, the shirt,
the jersey. Oh,
How did
yeah.
that feel, dude?
So
did that throw off your mental plan at all?
First off, I love Wodapolozza. I love getting down there. I'm so hype. Everything felt right. I grew up as a swimmer, so TIER being the title sponsor, I was like, this is my year.
It's like the one swimming event, right? Yeah.
And so you get down there, and there's all this hype about the swag that we're getting. It's a jersey, it's a pair of sunglasses, it's a pair of shoes. So get the shoes, get the sunglasses, waiting in line to get the jersey. They couldn't find it the first time, and they're like, come back because there's hundreds of shirts that are there.
Literally.
So I check back every 30 minutes or so, and they keep telling me it's not there. I'm starting to get a little aggravated. And then 2 hours go by, and they're just like, yeah, I don't think we have it. Yeah. I'm like, so what does that mean? They're like, oh, you'll just get one that says athlete on it. And I'm like, I don't want that. This is supposed to be a customized name jersey.
It's part of the
part of the whole thing. Yeah. Part of being an athlete at these big events is you get something cool that nobody else has. But you just get some generic athlete one. So feeling a little bit bummed about that. They told me to come back one more time at 6 p.m. Friday night. Or was it Friday?
It was Thursday, right?
Oh, so Thursday they told me to come back at 6 p.m. Friday night.
Yeah.
So I did. And it turned out they actually silk screened kind of like a quick silk screen on a blue shirt, one of their tri-blend shirts, a jersey. So they remade them. Not the same material as the other ones were. So they gave me that, which was cool. And they also gave me a letter of apology, saying that I'll get the jersey eventually when they're remade.
That's awesome.
And $100 to the tent that they had there.
So, that's really cool.
Yeah, they made up for it big time. I mean, I wasn't expecting half that. The shirt and just saying I'd get it in the mail would be fine.
Right, because it's like small fish in a big pond at that point, right? They do have 100 people. That's awesome that they showed that they cared like that. Did that mess with any of your mental preparation? Get ready for Wodapolozza?
No. I mean, everything to get ready it was there. It was just one of those those little hiccups. You just can't have that just smooth check-in time the first day. You just get settled. But once I got dinner and joked about it a few times, and it was just set for the first event the next day. It's ready, set, go kind of a thing.
Right. Do you get nerves before your first event from things even going all the way back to swimming in your college days? Do you get nerves right before?
Yeah. I mean, I would be lying to you if I didn't say I don't get nervous. But as I got older through my swimming career, the nerves became excitement.
Yeah.
Right. Because it's I knew the kind of athlete I was. I knew the work I would do. I wasn't super nervous to essentially fail. I was more excited to kind of show people up. Be sort of the person who was he's good, and then all of a sudden just come out of nowhere from a huge swim or something like that. That was always fun. This, I have to say, I don't know why, but when we were at the Whole Foods down in Miami, walking around the grocery store, I just had this wave of homesick. And I said to everyone I was there with, I was I want to go home. I suddenly was I don't want to do this.
The first day down there?
Yeah, I think overwhelming anxiety, just desire to not want to do it. I was just, the year before I went down, I competed, and 2 days before I started not feel great, but nothing was really wrong. And I was 90% sure I probably had COVID when I was down there. Never really ran a high fever or anything. I was vaccinated, but I could tell I wasn't 100%.
Something was different, yeah.
Something was different. And I was worried that something like that was going to happen again. I was just not do as well as I ended up doing. But it was just, everything just kind of hit me at once that evening. So I had quite a bit of nerves and anxiety going into it. And then, wake up Friday morning and it was just
go time.
Go.
Yeah. Do you have anything you tell yourself in those moments where the anxiety hits you?
That night I just kind of relied on friends and family to kind of tell me that I'm ready to do what I need to do and everything's there. But later in the competition, I don't know if you remember, there's a scene in Rocky IV when he's sitting on the bench and the trainer's telling him no pain.
Yeah.
So I would write that on my hand before every event. So it was just one of those things that would remind me that, in the middle of it, when it's starting to hurt, when you want to take that first break where you want to put your hands on your knees, I just look at my hand and I just keep going.
Right. Stay in it.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about your like favorite versus least favorite events. But before that, let's talk about the swimming event. How did you feel about it? Like, what was it when you found out what it was going to be? How did you feel?
So they still kept a little bit of mystery because they didn't announce a distance.
They did, yeah, I remember that.
So even there, they didn't state the distance. It was just to this buoy to that buoy and back, which I think was good and bad. Good because you just kind of like, bump. Everyone's doing this. That's what we gotta do. But when they announced the swim event, 50 wall balls, it was 150 singles for the scaled men, and then, a swim 2 times through. I was licking my lips at that one. I really liked that event. I knew where it was going to be the worst, where it was going to hurt the worst, but, I wanted it.
Right. So is that a sprint style?
Almost. I'd say my heat got pretty lucky. It was the coldest day in Miami.
Dude,
we were down
it was
there.
freezing.
It was 32 degrees that morning. So walking to warm up, it was 32 degrees out. It got a little bit warmer by the time we went, but it's like middle distance. We call it. So I would say it was about 150 to 200 meters per cycle. I think, who knows with open water swimming, but yeah, we got lucky, because it got warm.
I remember you texted me like an hour and a half before.
The wind died and the tides were changing, so there was no current.
Nice.
So the water was as glassy as it could have possibly been. And I remember finishing the wall balls and trotting around to go into the water, and you hit the water, you still get a little bit of that like sudden like
that chill, yeah.
That quick little splash of like shock or whatever you want to do, and I just started swimming. And I remember I got to the first buoy and made the turn, and like the sun hit me, and I just like the water felt warm, and I remember in the middle of swimming like, this is beautiful.
Right. You're like thinking that in the middle of the workout. That's funny.
While I was swimming, like, this is beautiful, and then I rounded the second buoy, and I like took a peek back to see where Mike Hoffman was, my friend, and the guy who got second in that event, and he was way back there, which was the plan. It was to kind of just I knew. With him, that I would be ahead of. I hopefully would be ahead of the swim, but I knew I'd be ahead of him. He's 6'8", so the wall balls for him were just like flicking a wrist, basically. So I got out of the water, and I took my time with the single unders. I took my time with the wall balls again. He actually passed me in the middle portion. He was back in the water before I was, but I mean half a step really. Yeah. And I remember we were going down the ramp, and he kind of glanced over his shoulder, and I heard him say "shit" because I was right there. Right. And so I passed him again, about the same distance, probably about 30 seconds ahead of him.
In situations like that, where you're in like live competition, right? Like, and you know that you're going to be ahead of someone, or you're leading the whole workout. Do you just like maintain, or do you just like try to go as hard as you can?
It depends on what kind of workout.
Right, because sometimes it means a little bit more. Yeah. Sometimes stuff like that.
So like if it's for time, you don't get extra points for beating somebody by more. Right. So, I do think of that where it's like I try to maintain. If I'm not, in that instance, I'm not training, so I'm not trying to hold an exact pace every time I'm doing something, every time whatever, but I'm just going to maintain that distance, right? If I'm 30 seconds ahead, if I know I'm like 10 reps ahead or whatever, like I'll just sit there. I won't go any faster because there's no need. There's no world record for that event or anything like that. Right.
We'll get the bonus points for
There's no. If I beat somebody by 1 second, or if I beat somebody by 60 seconds, there's no bonus points for that additional time. Yeah. But if it's something like where you're AMRAPing or whatever, like no, I'll try to catch them. I'll try to lap them. I'll try to beat them again and see how many times I can get. It becomes more of a challenge. Now I'll keep on the pace or push harder for those.
How much further ahead of you can I get?
Yeah. Because that's a thing too, and that's what I do for training. Like if I notice that I'm starting to catch up to somebody in something with multiple rounds for an AMRAP, like then yeah, like they'll be my rabbit. I'll try to catch them through something, and I'll try to pass them, and yeah.
Right, and that helps a lot. That's intensity right there, exactly what you just described. So, what was your favorite event there? Was it the swimming event? If it was there like anything else you really loved?
I mean, the swimming event was one of my favorites. I did like that one a lot. The lift off.
I was just saying, I figured that'd be that one.
That one, yeah, because it was the second event of the day on Friday. I wasn't thrilled about how I did the meat market Dirty Isabel. Those dumbbell bench press destroyed me.
They destroyed everybody.
Crazy, but I was amazed, and then I didn't think I would be ninth after that. It was a little shocking.
That's the first workout for you?
It was the very first workout, yeah. So there was that. So I kind of went into the lift with a chip on my shoulder. and I was up there warming up with some people and a couple other guys, and a young guy, Alejandro, was up there warming up with me, and he was hoping to PR at 265, and he's just sitting there warming up, doing his thing, and he watches me warm up to 285,
right,
and very, very easily pop it up and say, all right, I'm ready.
Right.
And he's like, did you just do 285? I did. So my goal was to 285 when you get out there to hit a number that's heavy but hittable, right? 305 is right where, I'm like, again, could do it, but I don't. You mess something up, you might miss it.
You gotta think about this weight,
you gotta think about that a little bit, and then I just full send for 315. I hit it. So
you were no misses all the way through.
No misses all the way through.
Damn, dude, what's that feel like? PR up on the big stage.
Nothing like it.
Did you hear like things going on around you, where you're just like lasered in?
I was lasered in. I have mixed memories of it now because I've watched videos of it so many times.
Right.
Like I remember more of watching myself do it than actually doing it. But I just remember, getting the bar up, standing there, and just in my head saying like, all legs, and I just pushed, and I was like, get low. And I got as low as I could. I still had to press it out, but I pressed it out, stepped forward, and she put her hand down and just spiked the bar.
Right, press outs don't matter at CrossFit. It doesn't matter. There you go. And it's fucking PR. That's dope, dude. So. Do you does that moment feel like winning like a swim event? Like, does the athlete moments transfer over?
They do. Yeah. So it absolutely does with those big stages. I mean, I akin it to championship swim meets where you may or may not be the favorite, but you swim out of your mind and you pull off your own PR time, and maybe it ends up getting you like the gold for the event for the year.
Right.
It's awesome, and the thing that comes with it is just like the surge of confidence. So oddly, funny enough, there was that stupid L-sit hold afterwards.
Oh
and,
my god!
I was on cloud 9 from the lift anyway. That I think I got like 12.8 seconds.
Right.
Because partly the standard was bizarre, and I don't think my judge did it right. But like I didn't care. I was just get me on to the next full event kind of thing. But so I won the lift. Everything was 9th again in the L-sit, but then I went the next day. I took victories in both events.
Hey, there you go.
So you carry this confidence with you when you hit that, So
that's dope. What was your least favorite event?
My least favorite, to be honest, I have to be a toss-up of the meat market and
what was that? Shuttle runs and bench press?
Meat market was pull-ups and bench press. Then it was like a 30 cal or 15 cal bike, 10 burpee over the bar, 15 power snatch. That was my meat market video. I'd say so. Yeah,
and the Dirty Isabel was.
Yeah, it was just like it was all one workout. I'm trying to think. That was the first one, and I think I want to say actually. Probably the second half of Start Fast, Finish Strong.
What was that?
So Start Fast was like a 11, 22, 11 of like the shuttle run, hops,
overs,
and then the L raises or whatever for time. So that was a little bit crazy. Took second in that one. But you went right into, after 4 minutes, so you had 4 minutes to complete that first, workout. Whatever. Like if you finished before that, you could use the rest. And that 4 minutes, you started a 30 cal row, bunch of like dead ball cleans.
That weird rower, right?
Yeah. Dead ball cleans and then dead ball carry. And like I had full sent real hard on the first part, knowing that like I really wasn't gonna have a lot left. And like I just
I remember that one. I actually got to watch that one.
That one, you guys were up in the stands for that. That hurt.
Yeah.
That hurt a lot.
That looked bad. Oof.
I was also playing a numbers game there where if I won the first one, then I think I could like essentially do a T2 me, like walk off,
back off, the second one, sometimes that's what matters, right? Because you have more workouts after that shit.
Yeah.
So before I actually asked about judging, like when you're in the water, and I know they fucking have the Michael Phelps thing of like don't watch your opponent and shit. Can you, like back to your collegiate days, where if you're swimming right now, can you tell where people are in the water and shit? Like, can you see where they are, like when you're racing?
You're taught not to look, right? You're taught not to look around, but you can get a sense. I mean, you get really good at being able to see your peripheries while you're in, a lap pool,
right, of
what's going on. And most of those races, there's never, in my events, which were sprint events, they were, everyone's within tenths and hundredths of a second of each other, so you are essentially right next to each other.
Yeah.
And it comes down to stroke timing of like who has the better spot for the finish, not necessarily full speed, but like Yeah, you're aware.
Yeah.
You know what's going on.
So when you look left and right at like Wodapalooza, did you feel like the judging was consistent across the board?
I think so. It was better this year than other years. I'll give it that. I think there's a little bit of an issue with non-English speaking judges sometimes. I think the same issue that I've seen happen in years past where, what is given in the briefing before you get on the stage, it doesn't quite match up what the judges were told.
Right. Or how they interpret it.
Or how they
going
interpret
back
it.
to the
Right.
non-English speaking thing.
So, a lot of times you'd have instances like last year, I was told to stop in the middle of a workout because the judge and I disagreed on how many reps were supposed to be done for a rope. It was for a rope climb portion. He told me there was 8. I said, no, there's 5. And he's, the 8 was for the RX division, or elite division. And I was like, it's 5 because we're unscaled. That didn't happen this year, but there were still some inconsistencies about, standard for certain things.
Yeah.
One instance was that first workout, the burpees over the bar. The standard actually across the board was that 2 feet have to be in the air while you're going over the bar. Yeah. You don't have to take off with 2 feet. You don't have to land with 2 feet, but both feet have to be in the air at some point.
Right.
And I did a couple, and the judge actually, she said, she's like, both feet or 2 feet take off.
Take off, yeah.
And as I'm continuing on, I said it's 2 feet in the air.
Right.
Like sometimes you got to remind them, whether or not they listen to you. But
I've heard that down the lanes as I'm doing it. What was it? Maybe the second work I went out for, what was up on the big screen versus what's like on my little card. The scorecard was different. It's like, okay, now this is great too. But yeah, it's good to hear that like consistency at least, because like everyone was getting briefed like in the madness like right away.
Yeah.
And I think what you really keyed in on something like the fact that there was like non-English speaking, because like I didn't think about this beforehand. It is Miami, and there will be so many people that are Spanish speaking and speak different languages and stuff. There's like Canadian teams there, so it's good to have them on.
Speak English in Canada.
No, but like French,
right? Sure.
There's people that like I had a team that spoke like mostly French and like broken English.
Yeah.
So it's good to have the people that speak the different languages, but like we should assign them better to the right lanes.
Yeah.
Because then I got a girl that like was I had multiple people actually that was like mostly Spanish speaking, and I'm like, well, I can't. Yeah. It's hard to communicate to you, But so they need to key in on things like that. But dude, let's talk about last year's Open, right? Do you know your current ranking after this first workout for this year?
I do. Overall percentile 94th. That's every man in the world. Percentile for Masters 40, 44, 98th. Ranking is 8,768 in the world, 403rd for Masters. 229, 26 in the U.S., 164th for Masters. And Pennsylvania is 91st overall and 5th for Masters.
So you're squarely in the top 10% right now. Do you remember where you were last year after 3 workouts? Where you finished?
I want to say I was right around like 93, maybe.
It's not top 10?
After 3?
After 3.
After 3 workouts. Oh, it was.
Where'd you finish at?
I forget. I can look that up. But I was not top 10%.
So, like, what was your mindset? Like, last year's Open was, like, kind of different, but it's like, it's still the Open, whatever they want to make it.
Yeah, it was. I was pissed. I didn't think it was an accurate representation of my fitness.
Yeah.
Whether or not having the issues at Wodapalooza in Miami last year compounded into, just mental state and just physical state too, because there's a little bit of a WZA hangover. Like you train, if you're aiming for that, like, putting all your eggs into that basket and you come back, like it's hard to kind of like have the lull and then step back up into the competition mode.
Because it does go from in-person to online competition too, and that is a big difference.
But last year I was pissed. I doubted myself. I was really kind of genuinely unhappy with a lot of things. But, I'm somebody that will spend some time in self-wallowing and that stuff, but then I make a plan, I figure something out, or whatever really impacted me last year in the Open, I made it a purpose and to fix. So one of the things was the box jump overs.
Yeah.
They wrecked me last year, and you would see me before workouts. I would be on the bike and doing box jump overs for 10 minutes, back and forth EMOMs, just constantly.
Yeah, I definitely want to cut it and say, like, I watched you be upset like afterwards, and I mean, it could feel like it was longer for you, but like to me, from a spectator standpoint, it's like it was pretty quickly. All right, now it's time to get ready for next year.
Yeah.
Like, let's do all these things. The weaknesses that I felt like were there, like let's attack those. Like, and you feel like you've always been like that, and like, were you telling yourself day one, like, I don't know if this is going to pay off, but I'm going to do it. Like, what was that process like?
Well, because you don't know if it's going to pay off because you don't know if those things are going to show up again in the same way that they showed up, in the same combination that they showed up that impacted you that way. You know, so like wall walks, like, you know, once a week I was doing sets of 5 wall walks with other stuff, like to make sure that the other things were fatigued by wall walks and my wall walks were fatigued by other things. Yeah. You know, so just trying to mix it up, but always having those weak movements in there in some capacity, and then, you know. People laugh at me now because they think that I'm so good at the bike, but I wasn't. Yeah. But I made the bike one of the things that I went back and forth with. You know, wall balls and bike, box jumps and bike, and then something else, snatches and bike. Like just constantly doing other things, not really ornate, you know, workouts or ornate like, you know, setups or whatever, but just the work. I mean, it's an EMOM.
Just grinding through it.
You know, a little bit of learning because I would figure out, you know, how long it took me to do, you know, 12 to 15 calories in a minute on the bike. Right. You know, depending on the pace I wanted to set and what I was doing it with. And then I would do, you know, X amount of reps over here and then go back and forth. So I'd have like, you know, 15, 20 seconds of rest depending. But then I'd be like, focus on your pace. It has to be the same pace every time. It's got to be the same RPM. It's got to be the same output of watts.
Interval and pace training.
Just hold it the whole time. Yeah.
So I feel like I asked you this last time, but do you like write stuff down? Do you journal, like workout stuff?
Not as much as I should.
Did you ever before?
I do. I still do occasionally. Like if it's something new where I'm trying to figure something out, but like a lot of it just lives up in the head. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy.
Like if you ever followed Old Misfits, they like had essentially what you're talking about, like bench work, right? Like just killing yourself essentially, like doing all the things that are really gonna hurt all the time. When was the last time you followed like any program, like outside of fucking your just own stuff?
I mean, besides here at the gym. Yeah. None.
Dude, so everyone out there listening, it's not like the program. There's no like special magic that's gonna save you. Not. It's like you could objectively see after you do something, like this is where I lacked, if you have that open mind to it and then just attack that stuff. Yeah. You know? Yeah, you don't need to spend hundreds of dollars on stuff. And, you know, sorry to anyone out there who's trying to promote their program. I mean, you know. But it's just, you know, it can be so simple at times, you know, that sometimes you think that you're doing such simple things that, you know, you're not doing anything, you know. Or, you know, for anyone out there that's like, oh, an 8-minute EMOM at that intensity, like, okay, that's not too hard. You're resting on, like, try it. Right. Try it before you do your workout. Use it as a warm-up, right? Pedal for a little bit, do your 8-minute EMOM. Tell me you're not out of breath during the class warm-up. Yeah. And then, like, you're getting into the next workout, and, like, usually you'll level out, and you won't hit that panic pain cave moment because you've already done that work beforehand. And the benefit to that of essentially redlining yourself before you actually do a class is that, you know, physiologically, like your lungs open up, your blood vessels dilate, like everything is ready to go again because it's already past that point. So. And for like Angela, who always comes to people for doing extra stuff, like Jeff still does go real hard in the class workouts too. That's why I think a lot of people like miss with their extra work either before or afterwards. Then they do like the main workout and they don't put 100% into it, or like whatever the 100% is supposed to be for the day. You know, like that's still real important. Yeah, because I mean, part of it too, a lot of it that I've learned, especially this past year, is that it's not necessarily just the physical gains that you make, whether it be capacity, strength, etc. It's the mental gains. It's knowing that you can do something. It's knowing what's coming, what it's going to feel like for you. Right. So, you know, doing that warm-up, the stuff I would do before class, like knowing that I'm going to redline myself here. Now I need to learn what that's going to do in this workout. Because you never know if you're in a competition and there's going to be a 2-part workout. Right. So, like, start fast, finish strong. I knew that second half was going to suck. Right, like, you're going to be severely tired. I was blown out. You know, I was going to full send that first half because I wanted to win it. I knew that second half was just a hang on kind of thing. So don't take a zero in this workout. Don't take a zero. I feel that. So, dude, what's the goal for this year? The quarterfinals. I would like to continue to make each
try to see where we sneak into each stage if possible. I mean, semis would be cool, but who knows?
Which does Masters have semifinals? Like
I don't know. I have no idea. It's my first time being up this high in the age range.
You're like, damn, I'm finally So everyone out there, Jeff is finally turning 40 this year after his sporting age is now in the 40s. So yeah, dude. Hopefully they do, and we can move you up there. You know,
awesome. That'd be cool. So and I was talking to somebody else too, and generally in years past, and even last year, I would say that the Open is never really a good representation of my skill set and fitness.
Right.
I know it's supposed to be accessible to all, and like, can everyone do it? Sure, but I was looking at the quarterfinal workouts that a lot of the people here did, and I was like, oh my god, I would destroy this workout.
Right. Quarterfinals is more of your CrossFit style and the heavier, higher skill.
Yeah. So to see this workout 23-1 come out, I was like, all right.
Yeah.
All right. And even this one it's got an aspect of heavy high skill.
Yeah.
With a thruster, but I don't know if you consider thruster high skill. But it's heavy.
I'm like, I kind of would have picked any other heavy lift besides a heavy deadlift, but like thruster's all right. I'll deal with it. But all right, dude, I got to go out and get my teens now, man. Thanks for coming on again, Jeff. People out there, be on the lookout for Jeff on that leaderboard. Peace.